Welcome back to my channel, Pocket Change Coins. If you're excited about finding hidden gems in your pocket change, you're in the right place. First, we're going to uncover some of the most valuable and rare US coins that could be worth a fortune. Let's dive in. We're taking a closer look at a coin you might have held in your hand, spent at the store, or even left in a drawer without a second thought. The 2021 US $quarter coin featuring the breathtaking image of George Washington crossing the Delaware. But here's the twist: the version with the Denver Mint mark, yes, the little d, is creating a buzz in the collector world that few modern coins ever achieve. And by the end of this video, you'll find out just how valuable this everyday-looking quarter can be, and why people are now chasing it like hidden treasure. Let's rewind for a moment and talk about what makes this quarter so much more than just 25 cents. Released in 2021, this coin came out right after the conclusion of the America the Beautiful Quarters program. It was the first in the transition back to traditional American imagery, and the US Mint went bold. Rather than subtle scenery or symbols, they went straight into history, honoring General George Washington's daring 1776 nighttime crossing of the icy Delaware River, a pivotal turning point in the American Revolution. The artwork on this coin captures that raw moment of leadership and resolve. You can actually feel the motion of the oars, the bitter cold of the winter air, and the courage in Washington's stance. It's not just art, it's an echo from the past, carved into metal, but here's where it gets even more exciting. Not all of these quarters are created equal. The ones minted in Denver carry that small but significant D mint mark, and among them, a select few have captured the attention of serious collectors. Why? Because of the condition. While most of these quarters went into circulation, some survived untouched, in pristine, uncirculated condition. And that makes all the difference. A coin that looks flawless under magnification, sharp edges, no scratches, full luster, becomes instantly desirable. The US Mint might have struck millions, but only a tiny percentage remain in top-tier, collector-grade quality. That's what sets this coin apart. The rarity isn't just in the design or the year. It's in the perfect preservation, and here's where things get really interesting. As more collectors start to recognize the historical significance of this coin and the scarcity of high-quality examples, the market is heating up fast. Online auctions, collector conventions, private sales, they're all lighting up with interest around this piece. Dealers are scouring rolls, investors are searching for hidden gems, and coin enthusiasts are treating this quarter like gold. And for good reason. Demand is soaring, but supply is getting tighter by the day. Now, imagine stumbling across one of these 2021 quarters in your spare change or tucked inside a forgotten roll. You take a closer look and see that beautiful D mint mark. The coin gleams, untouched, almost as if it just left the mint yesterday. You send it off for grading, and it comes back with one of the highest professional scores possible. Suddenly, that little quarter isn't just history, it's headline news, and now, the moment you've been waiting for. A flawless 2021 US $quarter, featuring George Washington crossing the Delaware, with the Denver Mint mark, in pristine collector-grade condition, has reached a value of $45,000 in today's market. Yes, you heard that right. A coin you might have in your pocket or collection right now could be worth more than a brand new luxury car. So check your change. Look through your rolls. Pull out your coin jars. Because this isn't just a coin, it's a piece of American legacy, a stunning work of art, and for a lucky few, a ticket to an incredible reward. Stay curious, stay hunting, and who knows, your next big discovery might be hiding in the palm of your hand. Second rare coin, I'm talking about the 1971 D Washington quarter, a coin that might look ordinary to most, but for a few lucky collectors, it's become one of the most talked about and valuable pieces in modern American coin collecting. Now, you may be wondering, how could a common quarter from the 1970s possibly be worth anything beyond 25 cents? And that's where this story begins, because this is not just about the coin you see on the surface. It's about what lies beneath, the history, the production quirks, the condition, and a touch of mystery that has made the 1971 D quarter a true modern treasure. Let's start with a little background. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. It was intended to be a one-year commemorative coin, but it became so popular that it was adopted as the standard quarter design, continuing for decades. Fast forward to 1971, a year when the United States was going through social change, economic shifts, and technological progress. It was also a significant year for coin production. By 1971, the U.S. Mint had completed the transition from silver coins to clad coins, a copper-nickel composition layered onto a pure copper core. Silver quarters were gone from circulation, and the coins being minted now were designed to be tough, efficient, and mass-produced. But in this huge production run, strange things began to happen. Not all coins came out as intended. At the Denver Mint, where our coin of interest comes from, indicated by the small D mint mark just to the right of George Washington's ponytail, thousands of quarters rolled off the presses every minute. The process is mechanical, fast, and high volume. But even the most precise machinery isn't perfect. Errors slip through. Planchets, the blank metal discs used to make coins, sometimes come from leftover stock, and occasionally, the wrong metal gets used. Strikes can be off-center. Double dies can occur. And for collectors, these errors are pure gold. The 1971 D quarter, while seemingly common, has become a magnet for coin hunters across the country because of the potential for extremely rare minting anomalies. These are not easy to spot at first glance. Some coins may have barely visible doubling in the letters or numbers. Others may be missing part of the design, have die cracks, or be struck on the wrong type of blank. There are even whispers in the numismatic community, stories passed between serious collectors, of a very small number of 1971 D quarters that may have been struck on leftover 40% silver planchets, which were technically phased out after 1970. If true, this makes these few surviving coins not just rare, but historic. Now let's talk about the most important factor when it comes to coin value: condition. The grading scale used by professionals ranges from 1 to 70. A coin graded at 60 or above is considered mint state. But coins in the highest ranges, MS67, MS68, are almost impossible to find without a trained eye, careful preservation, and a touch of luck. The average 1971 D quarter in circulation might have scratches, dings, worn features, and loss of shine. But every now and then, a coin surfaces that looks almost untouched, as if it came straight from the mint yesterday. These are the coins collectors dream about, and what happens when such a coin is discovered? It gets sent to professional grading companies like PCGS or NGC, where experts inspect it under magnification, searching for perfection. If it passes the test and receives a top-tier grade, its value doesn't just rise, it explodes. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine you're sorting through an old coin collection. You come across a 1971 quarter with a Denver Mint mark. It feels a little different. You look closer. The details are sharp. The surfaces gleam. There's no damage, no wear, no blemishes. You send it in for grading, and it comes back with a near-perfect score. Not only that, but it's discovered to have a rare mint error, maybe a double die or off-metal strike. Suddenly, that 25-cent coin is worth more than you ever imagined. This is not just a fantasy. This is exactly what's happening in the collector's market right now. As more people wake up to the hidden potential of older quarters, prices are rising, demand is intensifying, and competition is getting fierce. Coin dealers are actively searching for these quarters. Online auctions are heating up. Forums are buzzing. And the 1971 D Washington quarter has become one of the most thrilling modern finds in U.S. coin collecting. So why does this coin matter so much? Because it represents the perfect storm of numismatic value. It's old enough to be historic. It's recent enough to be overlooked. It's common enough to be underestimated, but rare enough in top condition to be worth a fortune. It bridges the gap between everyday use and collectible gold. It's a reminder that history can hide in plain sight, in your change, your wallet, or your childhood coin jar. And now, for the moment you've been waiting for. One particular 1971 Washington quarter, minted in Denver, preserved in exceptional condition and verified with a rare minting anomaly, has been valued in today's collector market at a truly unbelievable amount. That single coin, once worth just a quarter, is now worth $88,000. Yes, you heard that right, $88,000. So the next time you're about to toss your spare change into a coin machine, stop and take a second look. Because in the world of coins, the smallest piece can sometimes hold the greatest value. Third expensive coin, we're zooming in on a coin that millions of people have spent without a second glance, the 1979 Washington quarter dollar. It might look like a typical 25-cent piece at first, but if you know what to look for, this coin could be the key to unlocking a small fortune. So, sit back and stay with me, because what seems like an ordinary quarter could turn out to be worth thousands, and by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why. Now, let's take a journey back to 1979. It was a year of change and transition in the United States. Gas prices were climbing, inflation was a hot topic, and technology was starting to take off. In the world of coins, the United States Mint was continuing its modern production techniques, striking millions upon millions of coins every month to keep up with the country's growing economy. The Washington quarter, already a familiar sight since its first issue in 1932, continued to be a cornerstone of American pocket change. But not all 1979 quarters are created equal. The quarter that most people know is made of copper-nickel clad, a practical metal combination designed to be long-lasting and cost-effective. These were minted in large numbers at three primary locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Most circulated freely for decades, used at diners, parking meters, soda machines, and anywhere a coin was accepted. But here's the twist: some of these quarters, particularly from 1979, possess qualities, minting errors, or grades so rare that they're now considered extremely valuable in the eyes of coin collectors and investors. Let's talk about what makes a 1979 Washington quarter stand out from the rest. First, condition is everything. Coins that were never circulated, never touched by human hands, and stored immediately after minting can remain in flawless, mint state condition for decades. These are called uncirculated coins, and they hold much greater value than their worn, everyday counterparts. If a 1979 quarter looks sharp, with full detail, strong strike, and original luster, you might be looking at something special. Then come the minting varieties and errors, and this is where things get really exciting. Some 1979 quarters have been discovered with unusual features: double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and even coins struck on the wrong type of metal. There are even rare transitional errors where a 1979 quarter was mistakenly struck on a blank meant for another denomination or composition. These are not your average mistakes, they're incredibly rare, and collectors are willing to pay top dollar to add them to their collections. There's also the legendary full strike or full step detail that collectors obsess over. These coins show every fine line of George Washington's portrait and all the small design elements on the reverse, including the eagle's feathers, talons, and wreaths, in perfect, crisp detail. Coins with these flawless characteristics don't just represent quality, they represent rarity. Let's imagine a real-world scenario. A collector comes across a 1979 quarter in a roll of change they picked up from the bank. At first glance, it looks like any other quarter. But something catches their eye: a gleam, a sharpness, an error in the strike. They do a little research, pull out a magnifying glass, and realize they might have something big. After sending the coin to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC, it comes back with an incredibly high grade, perhaps MS68 or higher, and includes confirmation of a minting error. At that moment, a coin worth 25 cents transforms into a rare artifact sought after by collectors across the globe. Stories like these are becoming more common as people begin to realize the value that could be hiding in plain sight. The 1979 Washington quarter has become one of those surprise stars of modern coinage, a coin that, under the right conditions, with the right error or grade, becomes a serious investment. It's not just collectors chasing these coins now. Investors and dealers are paying close attention to modern-era coins in top grades, especially as older coins become more scarce and more expensive. That demand is driving up the value of rare Washington quarters, and the 1979 versions are no exception. They're being auctioned, traded, and prized, not for their age alone, but for their beauty, their scarcity, and their surprising place in modern numismatic history. So if you've got old coins sitting in a box, a jar of quarters from the 70s, or inherited change from a family member, don't ignore the 1979 quarter. Check for mint marks. Look at the condition. Examine it under light. You could be holding onto something worth far more than face value. Now, here comes the most exciting part of this story. Among the rarest and most pristine examples of the 1979 Washington quarter, particularly those with verified errors and high professional grading, one special coin has made waves in the collecting world. A single, exceptional 1979 quarter has been valued at an astonishing $65,000, yes, you heard that correctly. $65,000. So before you spend that next quarter at a vending machine or drop it in a tip jar, take a moment to really look at it. Because in the world of coins, it's not just about the date or the design, it's about knowing what's rare, what's special, and what could change your life with just one incredible discovery. Especially, we're talking about a quarter that you've probably seen before, the 1982 Washington quarter with the Denver Mint mark. At a glance, it looks just like any other quarter. But let me tell you something, this coin isn't just a piece of pocket change, it could be worth far more than you ever imagined. So stay with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to see why some 1982 D quarters have collectors racing to get their hands on them. Let's start with a little backstory. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American currency since 1932. Over the decades, it's become a familiar part of everyday life, the coin you reach for when you park downtown, buy a snack, or do laundry. But in 1982, something unusual happened. That year marked a turning point in U.S. coin production, and the effects of it are still being felt in the world of numismatics today. In 1982, the United States Mint faced major budget constraints. In response to the economic pressure of the time, the Mint made a decision that would forever impact the way coins from that year are viewed by collectors. They stopped producing mint sets, the uncirculated collector's sets that are usually made every year and contain perfect examples of each coin type. As a result, coins from 1982, especially in high grade, became much harder to find in pristine condition. That includes the 1982 quarter minted in Denver, easily recognized by the small D on the front, just to the right of George Washington's ponytail. Millions of 1982 D quarters were struck, yes. But the vast majority of them were put directly into circulation. They were used, handled, dropped, and scratched. Almost none of them were saved in perfect, uncirculated condition because no mint sets were available to preserve them at the source. And that is what makes the 1982 D quarter incredibly special today. Finding one in flawless condition, sharp details, no scratches, full mint luster, is extremely rare, but that's just the beginning. You see, 1982 quarters weren't just hard to find in good condition. That year also saw significant variation in the quality of the dies used to strike the coins. Some of the coins ended up with weak strikes, missing details, and faded designs. But others, the rare few, were struck with extraordinary clarity. In addition, certain error coins have surfaced, including off-center strikes, die clashes, and even a few where the design appears distorted due to worn or misaligned dies. If you have a sharp eye and a little patience, you could find a coin with these special traits. And if you're lucky enough to discover one that's also in mint state, meaning it has never been circulated, you're looking at something that could be incredibly valuable. Let's imagine this scenario. You're sifting through some old change, maybe a jar you inherited or coins you've had sitting around for years. You come across a 1982 quarter. It has that little D mint mark. You take a closer look. The design is crisp. The surfaces are gleaming. You see no wear, no damage, no fingerprints. You decide to send it to a professional grading service, maybe PCGS or NGC, just to be sure. And it comes back with a top-tier grade, something like MS67 or MS68. Maybe it even has a unique die variety or error. That's when things change, because in today's collector market, 1982 D quarters in such pristine condition are in very high demand. There simply aren't many of them out there. The lack of mint sets, combined with the fact that nearly every coin from that year went straight into circulation, means there are fewer and fewer top-grade examples left. And that's what fuels the fire in the numismatic world. Rarity plus condition equals serious value. Collectors are willing to pay a premium for coins like this. Dealers are constantly searching through rolls, hoping to find just one coin that meets the grade. And when a rare example hits the market, it doesn't stay there long. The demand is fierce, the supply is low, and the price? Well, let's just say it's enough to make you think twice before spending your spare change without a quick inspection. So next time you come across a quarter from 1982, don't overlook it. Check the date. Look for that D mint mark. Examine it closely under good light. You might just be holding something far more valuable than it appears, and now, the moment we've been building toward. One exceptional 1982 Washington quarter, minted in Denver, preserved in a brilliant uncirculated state, and featuring rare die characteristics, has been valued in today's collector market at a truly astonishing price. That single coin, once worth only 25 cents, is now worth a breathtaking $50,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. $50,000, and the most exciting part? That coin is out there. Somewhere. Waiting to be found. So keep looking. Keep checking your change. Because in the world of coin collecting, the smallest piece can sometimes hold the biggest surprise. Next coin, we're turning the spotlight on a coin that almost everyone has come across at some point, the 1994 Washington quarter minted in Denver. It might seem like a regular piece of everyday currency, but don't let its common appearance fool you. This is one of those coins that proves not everything valuable shines at first glance. Because if you know what to look for, and if luck is on your side, this seemingly ordinary quarter could turn out to be worth far more than 25 cents. So why 1994? Why that year in particular? Well, here's where things start to get fascinating. The 1990s were an interesting period in U.S. coinage. It was a time of advanced minting machinery and mass production, but that didn't eliminate the chance for rare mistakes or one-in-a-million specimens. In fact, it made those rare, perfect coins even more significant. And the Washington quarter, a design that had already been in use for over 60 years by that point, continued to carry both historical value and the potential for hidden treasure. Let's focus in on the 1994 quarter minted in Denver, identified by the small D mint mark just to the right of George Washington's ponytail on the front of the coin. At first glance, it's a common coin. The mint struck hundreds of millions of them. They were made for circulation, meant to be spent, pocketed, dropped, and forgotten. But out of that massive production run, a few quarters stood apart. Some were never circulated. Others were struck with rare minting errors. And a very small handful were preserved in such extraordinary condition that they've become the center of attention in the coin collecting world today. Now, let's talk about what makes a 1994 D quarter valuable. First and foremost, condition. The most valuable coins are what collectors call mint state, which means they were never used in everyday transactions. No scratches, no wear, no fingerprints. These coins still shine with their original luster, the same way they did when they left the mint decades ago. A high-grade mint state coin, especially one graded MS67 or above by professional services like PCGS or NGC, is incredibly difficult to find, but condition alone isn't everything. What pushes the value higher are the rare characteristics and possible minting errors that make the coin stand out from the millions of others. For example, some 1994 D quarters have been discovered with die errors, meaning the stamping die used to strike the coin had a flaw. These errors can result in double images, missing elements, misaligned designs, or even completely unique varieties that exist on only a few coins. These aren't just interesting, they're exciting, because error coins are among the most sought-after items in the numismatic world. Collectors are especially drawn to 1994 quarters that combine rarity, condition, and striking anomalies. Coins that show signs of being struck on the wrong planchet, or that have off-center strikes or extra metal, create a lot of buzz at auctions and among private collectors. These coins are hard to find, hard to replicate, and nearly impossible to ignore once discovered. So let's imagine you're going through some old change. Maybe you inherited a coin collection, or maybe you're just rolling quarters to take to the bank. You spot a 1994 D quarter. You take a closer look, and it shines. There's no visible wear, the edges are clean, the detail is razor sharp. You send it off to a professional grading company, just to see. And the results? Mint state, top grade. Then, upon further inspection, an error is confirmed. Suddenly, your quarter isn't just rare, it's valuable. The market for coins like this has been steadily growing, fueled by the rise of collectors, investors, and hobbyists who are passionate about American coinage. What was once dismissed as common is now being re-examined with expert eyes. And in that search, a few coins, like the rarest 1994 D quarters, have risen to incredible heights in value. It's a great reminder of how history, precision, and luck can intersect in the smallest places. One overlooked coin, struck perfectly and preserved carefully, can go from being spare change to a highly desirable collector's item. And if you're the one who finds it, you could be sitting on a prize that no one else even realizes is rare. Now, here's the part you've been waiting for. Among the finest known examples of the 1994 D Washington quarter, those with pristine surfaces, rare minting errors, and the highest professional grading, one standout coin has made headlines. This single quarter, once worth just 25 cents, has now been valued at a jaw-dropping $30,000. Yes, you heard that right. $30,000. So before you spend that next quarter at the car wash or drop it into a tip jar, take a closer look. Check the date. Look for the D mint mark. And most importantly, notice the condition. Because you never know, the next coin that changes your life could be hiding in plain sight. Last unique coin, we're unlocking the surprising story behind a coin that millions of people have handled, spent, and completely overlooked. But what if I told you that the 1997 Washington quarter minted in Philadelphia, marked with a small p, could be worth far more than you think? It might just be one of the most underestimated coins in circulation today. And if you stick around until the end, you'll find out exactly why some of these seemingly common quarters are now being valued at astonishing prices. Let's begin by setting the stage. The year is 1997. The U.S. Mint was producing millions of coins for daily circulation, coins for parking meters, vending machines, and grocery stores. The Washington quarter had been a fixture in American pockets for over 6 decades by this point. It was still the same familiar design, the strong profile of George Washington on the front, and the majestic eagle on the reverse. Nothing unusual, right? But in the world of coin collecting, what looks ordinary can turn out to be extraordinary. Especially when we're talking about quality, rarity, and the mysterious world of minting errors. The P mint mark tells us that the coin was minted in Philadelphia, one of the main facilities for American coin production. Now, in 1997, hundreds of millions of quarters were produced there. But here's what most people don't know: even in huge production runs like that, the chances of rare errors or uniquely struck coins slipping through the cracks are very real. And that's where the story of the 1997 P quarter takes a fascinating turn. You see, not every 1997 P quarter is valuable, but some of them are incredibly rare. A small number were struck with noticeable flaws or anomalies that occurred during the minting process. These could include things like double die obverse, where parts of the coin's front design appear slightly doubled, or off-center strikes, where the coin was struck incorrectly, leaving part of the design off the edge. Other quarters have been found struck on the wrong type of blank, known as a planchet error, or even missing crucial details due to die polishing mistakes or die deterioration. And then there's the condition factor, something every serious collector understands. Most 1997 quarters went straight into circulation. They were used in everyday transactions, meaning they got scratched, worn down, and lost their original shine. But a rare few, an extremely rare few, somehow avoided that fate. These are the coins that were kept aside, forgotten in a drawer, sealed in a roll, or saved by someone who just liked the look of it. If one of these coins was never used, never dropped, and still has its original mint luster and sharp detail, it may qualify as a mint state coin, and that's where things get exciting. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. Anything over 60 is considered mint state, and coins graded MS67 or above are especially hard to find, especially from modern years like 1997, when fewer people were thinking about preserving quarters. If a 1997 P quarter not only survived in mint state but also features a rare error, its value can skyrocket. Let's paint a real-life scenario. Imagine you're going through an old coin collection, or maybe just sorting through spare change from a coin jar that's been sitting in the back of a closet for years. You spot a 1997 quarter and something about it stands out. It's clean. It shines. The detail looks unusually crisp. You flip it around and notice a small misalignment. Could it be? You decide to send it off to a professional grading service, and when it comes back, you're stunned. It's a top-grade coin. And even better, it features an error that only a handful of 1997 quarters have. This is how some of the most valuable coins are discovered, by ordinary people with a good eye, a little curiosity, and a bit of luck. The market for these rare modern coins is growing fast. Collectors are now paying more attention to quarters from the 80s, 90s, and even early 2000s, coins that were once thought too new to matter. As more and more of these coins get lost to time, spending, or damage, the few that survive in exceptional condition become even more desirable. And when a rare error is involved, that's when the bidding wars begin. So before you pass that 1997 quarter along without a second thought, take a moment. Look at the date. Look for that small P mint mark. Check the condition. Is it sharp? Does it gleam like new? Any unusual details? Because that one coin could be your ticket into the world of serious collectors, and serious value. And now, for the moment that brings everything into focus. One particular 1997 Washington quarter, minted in Philadelphia, discovered in brilliant uncirculated condition with a verified rare mint error, has stunned collectors with its value. This single coin, once worth only 25 cents, has now been professionally valued at $25,000. Yes, you heard that right, $25,000. That's the magic of coin collecting. The unexpected. The hidden potential. The quiet thrill of finding something truly rare when you least expect it. So keep looking. Keep learning. Because that next valuable coin might be resting in your own change jar, just waiting to be discovered. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more amazing coin stories, rare finds, and valuable tips for collectors, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy collecting, and good luck on your next treasure hunt.